Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're exploring what is honestly one of the most brutal and absolutely fascinating phenomena in the entire natural world. We're talking extreme deep sea survival and the catastrophic, explosive destruction that goes down when those creatures are brought up to the surface. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever wondered what actually happens when you drag a deep sea monster up into the light? It's a bit of a morbid mystery, right? But the reality is way, way more violent and frankly disturbing than you might think. We're talking about highly specialized bodies literally collapsing, swelling, and just tearing apart into jelly-like remains simply from making the trip up. Section 1. Crushing pressure of the abyss. So to understand what goes so horribly wrong at the surface, we first have to wrap our heads around the truly terrifying physics of the deep. Seriously. Imagine for a second the sheer, unimaginable weight of the entire ocean just bearing down on you from above. Now, officially, the deep sea starts at just 200 meters down, but the extreme survivors we're analyzing today, they live way, way beyond that point. We're talking 4,000 meters, 6,000 meters, and even extreme depths pushing 11,000 meters down in the abyss. At those absolute bottom depths, the pressure is literally over 1,000 times greater than what you feel sitting here watching this explainer right now. 1,000 times. That number is staggering, I know, but it's kind of hard to really visualize what 1,000 times atmospheric pressure actually means for a physical living body in that space. Let's put this into a more visceral perspective. That deep sea pressure isn't just heavy, it is the equivalent of having 50 jumbo jets stacked directly on top of your body. And that's not just a momentary crush either. That incredible, mind-bending weight is bearing down on you every single second of your existence. Down at the bottom of the ocean, that pressure is so incredibly powerful, it would crush a human instantly, no question. Section 2. Built to survive the crush. Now, what's really interesting about this is, how on earth do these creatures actually survive down there? Well, the simple answer is that their biology is utterly alien to ours. They are absolute marvels of evolution, perfectly engineered for that specific, crushing environment. Let's break down the blobfish's survival strategy, for example. The key here is what's missing. They have absolutely no rigid skeleton to snap, zero gas-filled swim bladders to pop. Instead, they have flesh so incredibly soft that it basically acts like a natural pressure equalizer. By completely lacking the rigid structures that would just instantly be crushed by those 50 jumbo jets, their softness is literally what saves their lives. And because of those highly specific adaptations, down in the abyss where it actually belongs, the blobfish looks like, well, a perfectly normal fish. It doesn't look like a gelatinous mess at all. Its entire form is defined and literally held together by the crushing pressure of the deep sea, which, you guessed it, brings us to the core problem of our biological breakdown today. Section 3. The destruction of a scent. This is exactly where the physics and biology clash, and the results are catastrophic. When these incredibly adapted creatures are brought up out of the depths, it's a violent, rapid, and fiercely destructive process. Think of it like a countdown to disaster. Step 1. The creature is dragged upward toward the surface. Step 2. That immense deep-sea pressure, the exact physical force that was holding its entire soft body together, suddenly just vanishes. And step 3, without that pressure equalizer, the flesh simply collapses into that famous, kind of disgusting blob we've all seen in those viral photos. It's this horrible, tragic reversal of their greatest survival adaptations. There's a quote that perfectly captures this whole phenomenon. That's not what it looks like. That's what destruction looks like. You know, we've spent years calling the blobfish the world's ugliest animal, but we've completely misunderstood what we were actually looking at. We aren't looking at its natural face at all. We are looking at a creature whose body structure has utterly failed, simply because its environment was ripped away. But for other deep-sea creatures, it gets so much worse. Some of these animals have gas-filled organs specifically designed to work under extreme compression. Drag them upward, and those internal systems just expand like overfilled balloons. Eyes bulge right out of their sockets, stomachs push completely out through their mouths, internal organs literally tear themselves apart from the inside out. So, how fast does this nightmare actually happen? Well, the internal expansion and tearing happens faster than a Utah raptor could nail its prey to the ground with a single claw strike. Yeah, it is an explosive, incredibly violent decompression. It's shockingly brutal for sure, but it's also a completely fascinating look at what happens when highly specialized biology meets a sudden, radical change in physics. It is not death. It is complete biological destruction.
Seriously, think about that distinction for a moment. Death is just the cessation of life, right? But what happens to these deep-sea creatures on the way up to our world is the literal physical erasure of their entire biological form.
Section 4, erased by the surface. To really hammer home how completely unyielding this depressurization is, let's look at some solid proof. We have two specific, documented case studies of this terrifying phenomenon in action. Our first one is the absolutely incredible barrel-eye fish. Now, this is a creature that navigates total darkness 800 meters below the surface. To survive down there, it has these amazing, transparent, tube-shaped eyes. So, scientists once pulled one up to the surface for study, totally hoping to observe this incredible visual adaptation firsthand. The result? Well, by the time it arrived, its entire body had already begun breaking down. By the time it actually hit the air, it literally looked like melted wax. The pressure change didn't just casually kill the fish, it completely erased its physical form. Okay, now let's go even deeper for our second case study, the snailfish. This little guy is the ultimate survivor. It's the deepest creature ever recorded, found at a staggering 8,336 meters down in the Mariana Trench. At this extreme depth, the pressure is basically far beyond standard human comprehension. So the crucial point is, how do its cells not just instantly shatter under that insane weight? The answer is TMAO. TMAO is a special chemical located right in the snailfish's cell membranes. Its entire job, literally its only purpose, is to stop proteins from collapsing under that crushing deep-sea pressure. It is just a perfectly engineered chemical defense mechanism. But watch what happens when we reverse the environment. Step 1, the snailfish is removed from that extreme pressure. Step 2, without the crushing weight of the ocean, that exact same TMAO chemical can no longer save it. Step 3, the very cells of its body begin to lose their shape. And step 4, the body turns completely soft, and it literally dissolves. Its absolutely perfect cellular adaptation is exactly what causes it to melt away at the surface. Section 5, monsters of their own world. When we look at all this data, all these biological blueprints, we realize something really fundamental about how extreme environments shape life on this planet. The ocean doesn't just hide monsters, it builds them. That is the raw reality of nature, something standard biology textbooks rarely capture. The extreme deep sea doesn't just passively host these creatures. The environment itself dictates their very structure, right down to the exact chemical level of their cell membranes. And the tragic irony of it all is this. The moment you drag them into your world, their world destroys them from the inside out. The extreme physics they evolved to withstand become the exact forces that tear their anatomy apart in the absence of that crushing weight. That is absolutely the core takeaway of our explainer today. Which leaves us with one final, pretty chilling thought to ponder. If our world destroys them so violently, what would their world do to us? Just think about those 50 jumbo jets. If you want to keep your own internal systems safely inside your body where they belong, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Join me next time as we dig up more fascinating dark facts.